So, welcome back to Module 1, or welcome to Module 1. We have our first power influence trigger we're going to talk about here is this guy right here, authority, all right, authority. Now, as discussed in the intro of power influence, I kind of showed you, right, that there's going to be three major, we call them positioning. These are the positioning components to the power influence system, okay, the positioning components. And then we have 9, we call them agents of influence, okay? 9 agents of influence. So just a real quick recap on this, just so you guys understand, in case anyone's forgotten. Actually, I don't even need to write. Talked about this example in the intro. Imagine you're at the club, right? You're with the buddy, you're at the bar, you're grabbing drinks. He drinks scotch, you drink vodka, you guys joke about it, it's all good, right? You don't judge him because he's a scotch drinker. You're sitting there, and some random walks right by you, and he is dressed like a homeless person, right? He's just flopping around, the jeans are all fucked up, like he looks raggedy, right? And he walks by, and he stops to talk with you. He's like, hey, what's going on, man? How you been? And for a second, you're like, do I know this guy? Like, why is he acting like he knows me? Right? And then you're like, I don't know who this fucking guy is. But he keeps talking to you for a couple minutes, and the whole time you're like not even listening, right? Nothing's getting through. Your guard is completely up, right? He walks away. 2 minutes later, Jay-Z walks in. He's got the entourage with him. He's got Beyonce on his right? He's got Kanye in his back pocket. He looks fly. He walks up to you, and you expect him to walk by. You're like, holy shit, Jay fucking Z, that's pretty cool. Walks by, and he stops, and he looks at you, and he goes, what's up, man? How you been? What's up, dude? Everything well? Oh, yeah. How's business? How's the family? How's the wife? Still Asian? Just kidding, right? So, but he's like, he talks to you for a couple minutes, right? He does the stop and chat, right? And you're like, the whole time, you're like, holy shit, Jay-Z is talking to me. This is fucking cool. Everything he's saying, you're like, it's all coming in. You want to take it all in, right? And he tells you about some new clothing company or clothing thing he has coming out, and he's like, yeah, man, make sure you cop a pair. And you're like, dude, I'm gonna buy 2, right? You just want to for Jay-Z, right? He gave you the blueprint. It's fair. Then he walks away, okay? What was the difference there? Why did you ignore the first guy? Nothing got through at all. You weren't even interested, but yet Jay-Z, you're completely open to it. You're listening to it. He didn't even have to sell you. He didn't have to use any sales tactics. He's just like, cop a pair. And you're like, dude, I'll buy 2. Okay, what's the difference there? The difference is positioning. Okay, the difference is positioning. Everyone has this subconscious hierarchy they keep in their brain. Okay, and we're gonna call R, that's where the raggedy guy is, in your brain. This isn't how the world works. Everyone has their own construct of how this is. But in your brain, your subconscious takes in all this data and it goes, shh, okay, he's here. Okay, he's here. And you're ignoring everything he says, okay, because he's at that point on the hierarchy. Jay-Z, he's up here, okay? Blueprint, Black Album, right? The man had 99 problems and a bitch wasn't one. That's impressive, all right? That's pretty good. I don't think he's telling the truth, but that's impressive. He's up here on your hierarchy. Everything got through. What's the difference? Their position on this hierarchy, okay? If you want to imagine it, you have something, a threshold that looks something like this, where it's like, let's put a T and H so you know, it's your threshold, where if anything below here, you're gonna meet with skepticism. You're gonna meet with guards up. You're gonna not really want to listen to, okay? But if someone has positioned themselves past that threshold and they're somewhere in the free space up there, they position themselves higher in your hierarchy in your brain, you're open, right? You're open to it, you're listening. I have probably, 500 people who email me every week who want something from me, okay? People who just they want to interview me for their podcast, they want to put me on here, they want me to promote their product, they want me to review their product, they want a testimony, all these things that I'm going to say no to almost all of them, right? And I'm aware of all these things, but I still do it because they're not past my threshold, right? And we had a guy email in the other day who mentioned that he was good friends with Elliot Hulse, who is a good friend of mine, okay? I gave this guy the time of day in the first email when I responded to him because it's called likability, it's one of the triggers, but he name dropped Elliot Hulse's name. So he went from, he would have been here, oh, he knows Elliot, he gets moved up a little bit, right? So we got enough past the threshold where I responded to him. I wrote him an email, and then he wrote back, I was like, this guy sucks. And he went back down, all right? He went right back down. But he got in even for a second because he used one of the power influence weapons, which was likability, okay? But all those things, they position yourself higher, okay? Position yourself higher. So there are 3 tools to position yourself past everyone's threshold. Everyone you meet, you should be able to go right past that threshold, okay? And the first one is authority. Okay, the first one is authority. So what is authority? Okay, authority, what it looks like is mindless obedience. Okay, it is just mindless obedience. Cop tells you to pull over. Most of the time, you just pull over mindlessly, right? You don't have a debate in your brain. Should I or should I not pull over? Right? I gotta get, I gotta get to dinner in 20 minutes. Fuck, I don't have time for this. Drive off. You don't think about it. You have to do it, right? They have authority in that situation. You just mindlessly obey, right? Mindless obedience. It allows people, systems, or structures to enforce rules, make decisions, and get automatic compliance. Okay, that might even be a better definition for authority. It's when you have automatic compliance. A boss at work, so a structure is set up at work where the boss is here, the employee is here. Because his positioning is higher, he has automatic compliance. He tells you to do something, you have to do it. You don't have a choice, right? You have to mindlessly obey, and maybe not mindlessly, because in your mind you might be like, this fucking loser, listen to this boss shithole, right? But you have to comply, right? You have to do it. That's what it is, okay? Now, why do people do it? Why? Right? Why do they do it, okay? Well, think about this, all right? We're dropped into a world where from breath number 1, you're conditioned to believe obedience to proper authority is right and disobedience is wrong. Look at the very first story in the Bible, okay? Look at the very first story in the Bible. What is it? Who can tell me? What's the first story in the Bible? Adam and Eve, right? Adam and Eve. What's the first story? So Adam and Eve are put into paradise, right? The promised land. They're where they want to be. Everything's great. They got great fruit, right? Everything's great. There's cool animals. There's snakes that talk. That's cool, right? And then all he says is, right, don't eat the apples from that tree, right? The authority, that's all he says. Don't eat the apples from the tree. That's what's going on in the story. What does Eve do? She disobeys, right? She eats the apple from the tree. Then they get kicked out, and they go from paradise into good luck, you're on your own, right? Get the fuck out. Okay, so the very first story that you hear is a story. It's like a story God story, right? And story God story. Crazy, right? I'm doing this on purpose, right? But it's a whole story about obey me and you get to live in paradise. Disobey me and you're fucked, right? Your fireworks and the fourth fucked. That's the very first story you hear. I don't know about you guys, but I had to go to temple, right? Because I was born Jewish. And that was the first story they told us. I'm 6 years old, okay? 6 years old, I don't understand all this shit. I'm just like, oh, they're an authority, I'll listen to them. Oh shit, I better do what they say, right? I don't want to get kicked out, be on my own. I'm 6, I can't provide for myself, right? I stole a pack of gum when I was 5, I got in trouble for it. That was bad, I don't want to do that again. So they are literally, you're trained and conditioned to comply with authority from the very minute you're born. Every story you're told when you're young and you don't have any guards up for this stuff. Okay, so he's literally saying, do what I say and obey, and you're fed, happy, and safe in paradise. Disobey me, and you're booted out on your own. That's the very first story you heard. And when you were younger, it seemed like these people knew more than you, and they had the social proof of everyone else following them, making it seem like the logical thing to do. Okay, so that's what you're taught from a young age. Now, in addition, obedience to authority is easy. It's a heuristic, all right? Something we call heuristic. Heuristics are mental shortcuts, okay? So literally, let me read you what I wrote down here. It's a heuristic. It requires no thought. It's reacting. It's not thinking, right? It's letting someone else make all your decisions and handle all your problems so you can catch up with the Kardashians, right? It's a mental shortcut. I don't want to have to take the time to think about, should I just trust what this person's saying? Should I really like weigh the pros and cons here, cost versus benefit? Or no, can I just look at the general picture here, right, and say, is this an authority? Can I trust them? Yeah, you know what? They're dressed well. They have a nice car. They probably know what they're talking about. I'll just listen to what they say. And then you listen to what they say. Okay, so that's called a heuristic. It's a shortcut. Instead of you weighing the pros and cons, you just looked for a couple signs that lets you know this person's an authority. And once your brain goes, yeah, it's probably okay, you just listen to that person. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, it's called a heuristic. Heuristic. There's many of them that we do. Authority is one of them, okay? But people, forget this, okay? Forget the people in this room. Because everyone in this room is like you're a team capital badass, right? You fucking think about shit. You're gonna you take your life pretty fucking seriously. You're not just gonna let an authority tell you what to do. You're gonna weigh the pros and cons. All these fat fucks out here in Vegas, they don't do this, dude. They don't give a shit. They literally just want to they're like, stop selling me, stop teaching me, stop telling me all this shit. Shut the fuck up so I can go watch the Kardashians because they are getting ahead of me. I have to catch up with the Kardashians. That's all they want to do though. Okay, so they're like, forget heuristic. They just want you to show them certain authority symbols so they can go, okay, there's an authority. I can trust this person. Thank God. Thank you for pretending or actually being an authority so now I can go back to watching TV and jerking off on porn, whatever the fuck it is that they do. Okay? That's what's going on here. Now, honestly, this is fine most of the time. Okay? The problem arises when authorities aren't actual authorities or when authorities make an error and no one questions it, all right? That's when authority becomes a problem. It's not a huge problem in general. It's worked out fairly well so far, okay? But the problem arises when authorities make an error and no one lower in the hierarchy questions it. So, I'll read you a quick study. This is really fucking interesting to me. So the airlines industry they suffer from the authority bias as well, all right? The airline industry suffers from the authority bias. Charlie Munger said that what they do in a flight simulator experiment for new pilots, okay, is you get a pilot and you get a co-pilot. Now the pilot is the authority figure, and they don't do this in airplanes, but they do it in simulators. They have the pilot do something where the co-pilot, who's been trained in simulators a long time and he knows he's not allowed to let the plane crash, they have the pilot do something where the co-pilot, would know it's going to crash. All right, they would have the pilot do something where the co-pilot's sitting there, he's looking at him, and he knows it's going to crash if he does that, okay? Co-pilot's sitting there, the pilot's fucking up, the pilot's the authority figure. In the simulator, 25% of the time, the plane crashes. And this is a simulator, fortunately, okay? Hopefully people who let it crash aren't allowed to fly our planes. 25% of the time, the plane crashes, okay? Why? Authority, right? It's when authority, that's when it becomes a problem, when the person who's in the authority chair, the person who's not in the authority chair won't even question the authority, right? Because he's looking at him, he's like, I know he's fucking up right now, but he's my boss, I don't want to call him out on it. And the plane crashes. Okay, that's how powerful authority is. So I'm not here to teach you how to overcome the authority. So if there's authorities in your life that you want to question and kind of have courage with, that's not what we're doing here. I'm teaching you that's how powerful your authority is going to be on others, okay? They won't even question it a lot of the time. They'll let the plane crash. Crazy, okay? Crazy. In addition, people who are seen to have authority are seen as stronger, more attractive, more respected, and happier, as all the research shows. So, think about the laws of society that you follow without even thinking about it, okay? Do you stop at a stop sign? Yes. Okay, you do. Do you open doors that say staff only? Usually not, right? You just let them stay closed. Okay. Do you sit where the hostess usually tells you to sit? Most people usually do. I always, whatever they sit me at, I'm like, no, I don't like this one. I want to sit over there. I'm always very particular about it, right? Most people just sit where the hostess tells them to sit. Some advertisements do convince you to buy. Who has ever been convinced by an advertisement? I certainly have, right? So they do have power. They do work. And most of these things are good things. Right? It keeps things simple so nothing catastrophic happens and you can focus on your life, your path, your fulfillment. We want to focus in the next section, okay? We want to focus on really understanding authority so we are doing things, because they fit with your goals, right? So number one, we want to understand authority so when we choose to do something or we choose to comply with someone's request, we're doing it not because of mindless obedience, but we're doing it because, yeah, you know what, that fits with my goals. We have similar goals here, I will do that. Okay, so that's number one. That's understanding it for yourself. And number two is we want to really understand authority here so your customers, your girls, your friends will just say yes a lot. Okay? First, it's the first authority trigger. It positions you highly. You have a lot more power. Every word you say, instead of being like loaded with like a BB gun, gets loaded with like an AK. Right? Every word is coming out of there stronger, faster, bigger. Everything is more powerful. Okay? Someone says a word with a BB gun attached to it, it just hits you and falls off. There's an AK, there's like a big bullet attached to it, a shotgun bullet or something. It's going right through you, right? And there's an impact, there's an effect. That's what authority does to your words, does to your communications. Okay? So authority for me has been pretty cool. You know, I remember I'm 21 years old at Michigan State, and I can't get anyone to go out with me. I have to go to the bars alone on a Wednesday night because I'm the only one who's like, no, dude, we got to practice game. And all my friends are like, I have a test in the morning. I'm like, you don't need a test. The world is a test. Let's go beat it, right? And they're like, no, math, right? Worked out well for me, okay? But I remember that where I couldn't get anyone to go out with me because I had no authority back then. To now, dude, I could have 50,000 guys go out with me if I wanted them to, all right? It sounds kind of cool, kind of creepy at the same time. But like, that's what authority does, okay? That's what it does. That's a lot of power. That's pretty fucking cool. All right, so what I want you to do now in the comment section below this video, okay, is I want you to let us know one way that you've successfully used authority in your sex or in your social life before, and one way you plan on using authority in your sex life, your social life, or your money financial life now as well. So let us know in the comment section right now, and we'll see you guys in the next section in just a second.